Good morning, everyone. We'll start this lecture about pituitary glands. So, what is pituitary glands and where is it? The pituitary gland is above our nasal cavity. It is also below the thalamus. Now, this is the nasal cavity. I'll illustrate it here. This is the nasal cavity, and this is the pituitary gland, and it's below the thalamus, and this is also the hypothalamus. Here it is. And here we have an enlarged area. Here's the hypothalamus, and here are the pituitary. Now we have two lobes. The anterior lobe, which represents most of the hormones that it secretes, and the posterior lobe, which mainly stores these hormones and they are secreted when needed. Next, the anatomy of the pituitary is that there are the median eminence that is right below the connection between the hypothalamus, which is right here in white, and the pituitary gland, which is over here. Now, the anterior pituitary is like it's folding around the posterior, and this part is called the infundibulum. And there's the optic chiasm. We're not going to go through this one. However, the anterior pituitary consists of three parts. First is the pars tuberalis. So it's a tube. It looks like a tube, actually. There it is. Now, pars intermedia. So it's an intermediate between the posterior and the anterior. And then pars distalis, because this is the furthest part of the pituitary. I've said these. I mentioned how we could learn or know if I say tuberalis. That means the upper part of the anterior pituitary, so we could know. And then we have the intermedium, because it's an intermediate between both lobes. And then we have the pars distalis, because it's the furthest part. Now, infundibular stalk. Okay, so I have this is the stalk of the infundibulum, and then we have the pars nervosa. That's the two positions of the posterior pituitary gland. Now they have another kind of names. Anterior pituitary has another name called adenohypophysis, and we have the neurohypophysis, which will be the posterior pituitary. Now the relationship between the anterior pituitary and the hypothalamus would be much more like how we have said in the principles of endocrinology. Blood flows from the artery into the capillary bed of the hypothalamus. Now, the hypothalamus have the neurosecretory cells, as we can see here. The neurosecretory cells secretes the hormones according to the homeostasis state, according to the state of the blood. It secretes a certain type of hormone. This hormone goes from one capillary bed to another, and this is a vein. It's called a portal vein. Now, a portal vein is only mentioned for a vein that links between two capillary beds, and we have another example of a portal vein, which is the hepatic portal vein that comes from the intestine to the liver. And then these hormones, the blue ones, goes to the endocrine cells of the anterior pituitary gland, and then this cell and those cells secrete the hormone that is required to maintain the homeostasis of the blood and goes out from the vein.